thee, only thee. I want only thee, Lord, thee, only thee. I want only thee, Lord, thee, only thee. Hello, friends. I'm re-recording my noon broadcast because of technical difficulties. My name is Nayaswami Hriman. I'm broadcasting from the Camino Hermitage on beautiful Camino Island in western Washington. And this is our Monday through Friday series on the unpublished writings of Paramhansa Yogananda. And I have, once again, as I did last week, a poem to share with you. It was published in 1923 in a book by Paramhansa Yogananda called Songs of the Soul. Now, that was only 3 years after his arrival, and taking into account the time it takes both to write poetry and then to get it published, his English was excellent. This poem is fairly short, and it's called One Friend. Many clouds to raise to hide thee, of friends and wealth and fame, yet through the mist of tears I see appear thy golden name. Each time my father, mother, friends do loudly claim they did me tend, I wake from sleep to sweetly hear that thou alone didst help me here. God alone, that was the motto of his one of his great disciples, Yogananda's great disciples here in America, Sister Gyanamata, who met Yogananda when she was living in Seattle, Washington in the 20s. And so that one friend, one beloved friend, behind all friends, indeed behind all things. You know, when I arrived here 28 years ago from sunny California to gray Seattle, Boeing Airplane Company, it still is, but was certainly a big employer at that time and had a large footprint mentally and otherwise on the region. And Boeing engineers would say, well, to newcomers, because lots of people moved from all over the country to work at the Boeing factories, and they would say, don't worry about the gray, cloudy, rainy skies here in Seattle. They say it's always sunny up at 30,000 feet. And so it is with meditation. The clouds, low-hanging clouds like the fog, and then the different levels of clouds are more like our different states of consciousness. Positive, negative, sleepy, asleep, daydreaming, fantasizing, being logical and concentrated and creative, inventive, uplifted by beautiful music, all these different layers of consciousness. And so meditation is a little bit like going up in one of those Boeing airplanes, when you take off from SeaTac International Airport here in Seattle. You typically, if you've got a window seat at least, you can see the plane going up through these different layers, and then it suddenly bursts out into the beautiful blue skies with the bright, shining sun. Well, that's what meditation is there to offer to us, to rise through the clouds of our indifference, our laziness, our tiredness and fatigue, behind all the self-definitions that we have, by which we define our many different roles typically in life as adults. We could be a parent, we could be a spouse, we could be a partner, we could be a worker, we could be a supervisor or a business owner. We can be head of a charity or working in our community, local community as part of giving back, etc. We are many. We could be the neighbor, the guy who mows his lawn or lends his lawnmower to his neighbor. We are many things, okay? And all of those are different clouds of self-definitions, ways that sort of like, I see these little videos on YouTube. They're called shorts. And a lot about, the ones I see are a lot about animals. And so you see these giant whales coming up out of the water, and they're covered with barnacles, poor guys. I don't know if that hurts, but like ships are, I guess, underneath the waterline. And we too are like those great whales. We're covered in barnacles of all sorts of things that hold us beneath the sea, as it were, or in those clouds, to return to my original metaphor. And so by getting quiet and still, we can rise above the clouds. You know, if you consider, you were born from darkness, from nothing, you became something. When an idea pops into your head, where does it come from? There you are, and okay, your mind might be focused on your task at hand, and then an idea, because you are focused, the magnetism, the energy of that concentration draws pop right into your mind, a new idea, a solution perhaps to your problem. And so we don't know where those really come from. We can say, I had an idea, that's fair, but you can't really say where it came from. I mean, it clearly came as a result of your need for a new idea and your concentration on that need. But where it actually comes from, you didn't manufacture it like, stitching something or knitting a wool scarf or something, or building a doghouse or a wood crib for your firewood. But it did come to you, and it came to you as a result of the laser-like focus that you had on the task at hand. Now, studies in creativity and our experience with creativity, sometimes we sleep on a problem, don't we? And in our dreams or upon waking, the idea comes. There's different ways by which it comes, but notably, one important thread is that ideas come when we relax from the need, when we relax our concentration. Now, of course, ideas can come right in the midst of our conversation with co-workers on a project. An idea can come to us anytime, actually. But nonetheless, there is much to be said in the developing your concentration, that focus on whatever it is and then relax. Well, this is exactly the same pattern that we find in the teaching and practice of meditation. Somebody asked me the other day, why do we, after we do certain techniques of meditation, why do we sit in the silence? Why is that important? And this is the reason why it's important, because it's in that quiet, still state. After we practice, we can relax. The practices help aerate, that's not there, oxygenate the body, so that we're not pumping out a lot of carbon dioxide. We're sitting still. We've done certain exercises perhaps with the body to relax the muscles, and our spine is straight, etc. So we've prepared the body, and using our techniques, mental techniques of psychophysiological concentration, we have focused our mind, just like when we're working on a task of other kinds. But then the magic happens when we relax from those techniques and be still and know. Now, I'm not going to go further in that direction because I have a point behind the poem, One Friend. And you remember that old song from The King and I, Rodgers and Hammerstein, and it goes something like, getting to know you, getting to know all about you. Well, I tell students of meditation when I teach classes that getting to know yourself is getting comfortable in the silence. A true and close friend is someone you can sit with on the couch or in the same room at least and be silent. I don't mean when you're angry at one another, of course, but when you're comfortable with one another, you don't have to talk. And so it is that one person that's behind all your thoughts and your actions. It's like the stillness. I heard somebody say recently that stillness is always there. When we go out and run an errand, we come back, we're done. When we finish a conversation, We go back to the self. We're finished. Every day after a busy day or even a difficult day, we rest and we sleep. It's like the energization exercises that Yogananda invented. Tense different parts of the body, muscle groups, relax and feel. This is the secret to an abundant life, is the metabolical, the metaphysical, you find it in nature, the cyclical rhythm of day and night, of rest and activity. This is the secret to sustaining your concentration, the secret to finding joy in the process. If you work too hard, you get burnt out, you see. Of course, if you do nothing but relax, you become lazy and a sort of a bum. You become lethargic. Is anyone really happy being lethargic? No, we call that depression. Okay? A happy person is more likely to be a busy person. We always say here in America, ask a busy person if you want something done. And so there is a kind of joy lurking in activity. But there's also joy, the source of joy, lurking in the silence. You see, joy is like that blue sky at 30,000 feet. It's always there. But we have to learn to find it amidst the ups and downs of life. Then it becomes a reality for us, not just a passing emotion. And so that stillness and that silence, it's behind our words. It's between our thoughts. Somebody once defined meditation as the space between our thoughts. A very working definition, if not a very inspiring one, but I think it certainly works well. You can try to find those empty spaces between those crazy thoughts of ours, and you will find that river of joy, that one friend. Now, mostly I've been speaking about these higher states, the stillness and silence in a more impersonal way. But there is something that happens, assuming you're starting from an impersonal starting point, because the reverse is true. And what I'm talking about is that as we get comfortable getting to know you, as we get comfortable with the silence, we find that it is not empty, it is not dull, it is not boring, it's quite full, quite meaningful. All the potential for action has its source in silence, in stillness. And most of all, to my point, it is not abstract, it is not impersonal, it is not some cosmic force like electricity, which is sort of dumb and you can control it. Nothing could be further than the truth. What you find is yourself. What you find is the presence of God, and that you are that very presence. You are a reflection of that, all of that great river of fullness and potential. You know, life is joy. Swami Kriyananda wrote an incredibly powerful piece of music called Life Mantra. And one of the phrases in the mantra is, God is life. And when you learn to experience through meditation the vibrancy of life within you, that's like the blue sky at 30,000 feet, is above your thoughts, but always there, to which we can return, whether in sleep at night and in the dreamless segment of sleep, certainly. It is very personal. It is you. And so it is that without a name, or we tend to give all things names, you know, so we might call this silence God or Jehovah, or we might call it Krishna or Rama or Jesus. They don't mind the name so much. That kind of name calling is permitted apparently. It's natural to the human mind to name our best friend, right? But it is a friend. And so I'm going to end now with that poem, One Friend. Many clouds do race to hide thee, of friends of wealth and fame, and yet through the mist of tears I see appear thy golden name. Each time my father, mother, friends do loudly claim they did me tend, I will wake from sleep to sweetly hear that thou alone didst help me here. Okay, friends, the one friend. All right, I hope this recording works out well.